Hi, we're going to carry on working on the simple building that we've been trying to put together here in Revit. This is kind of out of the box tutorial, so there's no bringing in clever stuff from outside just yet. It's just very simple stuff. So we're opening the file start part 4. Okay, a few seconds now. I can't see the view here. This is supposed to be the 3D view. Let's restore down and then double click your middle mouse button to zoom extents. Pretty similar to AutoCAD the way that works. Shift and middle click your mouse and you can rotate the 3D view there. Okay, so as far as we took it last time, we've got perimeter walls here, we've got some partitions, and you can see in the 3D view we've got the ceilings in, and there is a ground floor slab that we've got there. So we haven't got the walls going down to any foundations yet. I'll add those in later. Okay, and I want to prepare this for the next exercise. So firstly I want to check the floor to floor height. So we haven't looked at the elevations yet. So I'm going to expand the elevations here in the project browser and double click south. Okay, so the software doesn't know how big a building you're going to create, so it just puts in a very basic datum markers, not very long. These aren't long enough to deal with this building. So I'm going to click level 1, and there's a very small circle just here next to the edge of the marker, and if I click that and drag it, I can reposition these datum markers, and the other end of the datum marker, that one's dragged out past the elevation as well. So just drag that out, just so you can see them projecting from the edge of the building. Okay, so that's an absolute level, the 4000. Okay, but this is the actual difference between the levels. So it depends how many stories you're dealing with, whether you change the absolute levels or you're changing the distances. This time I'm just going to change the distance between the two datums to 3600 and return. So return is the enter key on the keyboard. Okay, notice the walls shrunk down with that. That's what we'd expect. Okay, this marker, this is one of the grid lines inside the building. I'm just going to drag this up and away a bit to give it a bit of space and pull it down past the drawing, just as you'd expect on a normal drawing. Okay, so that's south elevation's tidied up. I'm not going to bother doing north and west, but I will do the east one. We're going to need that in a few moments. So let's double click the east elevation and do the similar job here, just tidying up the positions of these datums, if that's the plural, I'm not too sure. Okay, and drag that out. Okay, the height doesn't need changed here, the distance doesn't need changed here. Once it's changed throughout the project. So click and drag, take those grid markers up and likewise pull them down through. Okay, we'll keep elevation east available for now. We're going to come back to that in a few seconds, as I said. Okay, firstly I just want to move the ceilings up. I'm going to do that in the 3D view that we have open. Okay, and not all the ceilings, just 4 of them. So I've got the large area at the back and then 3 areas at the front. So I'm holding the control key so I can pick up the other bits of ceiling. And I'm going to change their height offset to 3000. Okay, so they're the kind of primary spaces in the building. Then we've got a lobby here, corridor, and an office, sorry, and a meeting room in the middle. Okay, click off that. So I just erased those just because I want to put in a larger window feature at the front here and a couple of them at the back. So I'm just preparing a bit more headroom in these rooms to allow for that. Okay, we'll work on the plan first, and what I want to do is add a very large window feature across here. So it's so big it's basically going to be a curtain wall. So it's not really a window as such, it's more glazed wall. Okay, the plan's at a 1 to 100 detail level, and I could do with that being a bit sharper, so let's change the 1 to 10 so that I can see more detail, and this allows me to reposition my curtain wall better. So we're adding a wall type, so if we drop the arrow down at walls, I want a wall architectural, and then choose the type of wall, and this is going to be a curtain wall. Okay, now I'm not too worried about the size of the curtain wall just now. I just want to get it in place in the wall so I can start carving it up a bit. So I'm looking for the center line of the wall. It's showing up as a blue dashed line. So just click and drag to drop in a wall. Okay, click at the bottom there. You heard a little bleep there, and we've got a warning showing up, and it's saying that I'm trying to create a wall inside another one, and that's absolutely right. Some of these warnings you must heed. Okay, best not to dismiss them and let them build up, because they have to be addressed. It can cause problems later on. Okay, but I'm going to address this right away, so I'm just going to close the warning so I can work on this problem. Okay, now I can't see what's going on too well in that view, so let's have a look at the east elevation. Now, too many windows vying for my attention here, so I'm going to do WT so I can see all my windows. Okay, so here's the window I want, and I'm going to get my modify tool, which is on already, and I'm just moving across the elevation here, and eventually it settles on the curtain wall. You can see it pop up there showing curtain wall. So if I click that, and I'm just going to drag it into the wall. Oops, took the top of the wall there. It's the marker I want here for the curtain wall. It's doing it again. I want the curtain wall marker only. Okay, I think that was okay. Do the same at the top. Doesn't want to come down. Okay, we got you. So we've got the curtain wall shape here, so it's completely inside the wall, because I'm now going to embed that inside the wall. Okay, while I've got this selected, I'm just going to change the heights. So I'm going to say that this curtain wall starts 300 millimeters above the ground. So 300 there for the base offset, and top offset I'm going to take it minus 700. So if this level 3600, take away 700 would take it down to 2900. Okay, that's 100 millimeters lower than the ceiling, which was at 3000, which means there's a bit of cover here, so we get a tidy detail inside the building. Okay, so that's that settled. No need to apply there, I'd already done it. Right, we've still got control of the curtain wall item, and if I go to edit type, I've got a button here that says automatically embed. Put a tick in there, apply, and OK. And what that's done is carved away the wall all the way around the window, so I can see my huge piece of glass. Okay, so that's really what we've got at the moment, just one massive piece of glass. I now need to try and subdivide that so it looks more like a curtain walling stick glazing system. Okay, right. So I've got my elevation position. What I could really do with this is tidying up the plan position. So I'll go back to the floor plan. It's really tight for space here. I'll maybe just actually stack these in this manner, and that'll make it easier to get from one to the other, so I can just click in a corner and not have to resize each time. Okay, so we haven't actually agreed on a width for the window. So what I'm going to do is put on a couple of dimensions. So go to the annotate ribbon, get an aligned dimension, come onto the drawing, and it automatically kind of shows up the key positions that you could dimension from. So we've got one here, so it's the window opening size. So click there, take the dimension to the grid line that's in the middle of on the axis of the building, and then take the dimension to the other side of the opening. Okay, click and drag out. The dimensions look tiny, they're minuscule. Okay, I'm not worried about that. All I'm wanting to do here is to equalize the distance from the grid line. So I click EQ, and that makes both of these sides the same. I can now modify the actual curtain wall and give it the size I actually want, which is 6600, and press return. Okay, so it stretches both ways. I've got my window centered on the grid, nice and tidy. Right, let's go back to the elevation and see what we've got now. Okay, I want to add to this, I want to add a curtain grid. Okay, so we've got one big piece of glass. I want to subdivide that into smaller pieces of glass, and then I can add the framing to it. So architecture, curtain grid. Okay, I'm going to go for all segments, so instead of doing it piecemeal, I'm just going to add the major lines across the curtain wall itself. So I'm going to put one here at 1500, one over here at 1500 away from the other side, and then I'm going to place a line right in the middle. So I've got 3 verticals, and I'm going to put in 3 horizontal. So you can see the pop-ups showing up the locations. So if I move again, I've got the 2/3 point, 1/3 point, and the halfway point. Just let that pop-up come up again. Oh, it's decided not to now. Okay, so I'm going to select there, and then it gives me another halfway point. The pop-ups aren't showing up now, thanks very much. Try this end. No, just not doing it. Okay, but I know that's the right place. Okay, and you can see the dimensions were all equal. Okay, these can be moved later if you want to. You can just pick on a line and it can be moved up and down. You're not fixed in that position. Okay, I better put it back the way it was. So go to 650. I'm just going to undo that actually because the screen resolution is so feeble. It doesn't let me move it very easily. That's better. 650, 650. Okay, and then I want to add the actual framing now, which are the mullions. So I go to architecture ribbon, mullion, and just to get things moving quickly, I'll just place the mullions on every grid line that's there, and that includes the perimeter as well. Okay, watch out that you don't just add them in the middle. You need a frame around the very outside as well. So all grid lines, just move back onto the curtain wall grid, click once, and all the sticks get created. Okay, now we can have a look in plan now, see how accurate things are. Now I can spot already there's a bit of a problem, that the curtain wall's facing the wrong way. Generally we have the glass on the outer side. Here it's actually on the inner side. So I need to find the midpoint of the curtain wall system, get my modify button, click on the curtain wall, and there's a small icon here. It doesn't get any bigger if I zoom in. Okay, that is 2 arrows pointing away from each other, and that will flip the way the window works. Okay, so that's better already. Just checking my horizontal position. It's not quite on the center line of the wall. I'm just going to move it across a tiny bit. Difficult to align the curtain walls in the position you want in horizontally. Okay, the next thing we can do to tidy things up is to get this mullion centered on the wall there, and it doesn't quite snap onto anything there. I don't think that's actually even halfway, so I'm just going to nudge it with my cursor key. That looks a bit more balanced. Okay, Probably might need even one more nudge. Yeah. Okay, and do the same at the other end. You hover, let the blue line appear, then you click and hold, and you can reposition the line. Okay, I'm nudging that using the cursor keys to get it in the right place. Okay, check what we've got, and that's basically the curtain wall finished. So I'd like to use another 2 of these on the other side of the building. So I can click on the curtain wall, hold Control, and drag it across to the back of the building. Now, I didn't get all the way there just because of the screen size, so I've now got it copied. It's now been kind of cloned, and I can take it across a bit quicker without holding the Control key now. Okay, and I want to position this in a similar location on the wall, so I'm looking for the center line of the wall. Things are a bit difficult to locate with the screen being this resolution, so I'm going to have to zoom in a bit closer and a little nudge to try and get that centered on the wall. Okay, now because it was copied straight across from the other side, it needs flipped. So you look for the double arrow icon and flip the wall out the way. And what I'd like to do here is line this up with the grid line. So I need to move the whole wall, not just the mullion. And if it'll let me, it's being a bit sticky. It's being very sticky here. I think I'm going to resort to cursor keys just now, because this is going to end up shifting it too much. Yeah, shifted it again. So let's nudge it up, just using the cursor keys, just to get it centered. And similarly at the top, it moved it slightly out of position there. Back on what appears to be the center of the wall. Okay, now that might involve using some kind of dimensions to help reposition that. Not quite sure how we actually get these alignments absolutely correct. It does seem a bit sketchy. Okay, in a few steps, well, in the next video, what we're going to be doing is putting in windows and doors, and there's a door going to be going in this position. So what I'll do is I'll reduce the size of this the curtain wall at the back just slightly. So I'm trying to get to the dimension there, and I'm going to change it to 5800 and return. Okay, and we can flip that over to the other side of the wall, so we have a large window on this side as well. So I use the mirror pick axis, and we have an axis we can use. Okay, the window gets flipped over, all the holes get cut, everything's a direct image. Okay, now that's the curtain walling done. Let's just make sure things are okay in the 3D view. Okay, it looks quite good. Let's spin it around and have a wee look at the back. And we've got 2 big sets of windows, lots of light can come in through those into the building. Okay, and I will stop the video there and pick up with doors and windows next.